Welcome to Cool Bike Chat.
We're back.
We are, and there's more of us this week.
No, I know. We're growing. We're like bacteria.
Yeah, we definitely are. Welcome to the studio, Alex McCormack and Brad Shenton from QUOC.
Cheers for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming all the way over from Spain and all the way up from Plymouth.
Yeah, long old journey.
It's a long way from the Atlas Mountains, that's for sure. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a trek from Morocco, but probably just as quick.
It seems like you brought the weather though, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
thanks for that.
Sun's out and it's cold, so pretty similar.
So, Alex, Aidan mentions the Atlas Mountains. You have literally not been back very long from winning the Atlas Mountain race.
Yeah, sort of just over 2 weeks. So yeah, no, it all went to plan out there, so no complaints.
Congratulations.
Thank you, cheers, yeah.
Absolutely massive achievement. Like, we were all chatting before you came in, and we're like, how does he do it? Like, it's crazy. It's incomprehensible.
I don't know, I think, yeah, if anyone tries to ride your bike for 4 days, you might be pleasantly surprised how well you go. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I guess there must be something a bit wrong with me.
But put into context, like for people that you had a full-time job leading up to this, right?
Yeah, so
And,
yeah,
like,
sort of coming back is when my reduced hours have started. So
how do you fit in the training and the mileage for that sort of stuff?
to be fair, I don't do mad hours, so I think I probably average maybe 12 hours a week on the bike.
I thought I was part-time doing 30.
Which is like, yeah, it's less than people expect. But I guess it's like 12 hours of like intentional, like structured training. And then I guess I probably just through my other hobbies and like walking the dog and stuff, do more exercise hours a week. But I think, yeah, it's sort of like intentional training is about 12 hours. So it's nothing crazy.
We're all going to go out and buy dogs now.
Yeah. What brand of dog?
Yeah, get yourself a high energy hunting dog. And yeah, you have to walk at least 3 times a day. So that's the secret.
It's weird because events like that, people, like you touched on, people just assume you're doing like stupidly long hours a week, but
Yeah,
just goes to show you don't have to. I mean, I've never been so energized dot watching in my life. Like, well, you were the same. We just sat there like, he's still winning. He's pulling a lead.
Cheers, yeah. I guess there's like, I mean, I've been training or riding bikes forever, so it's like, it's not just like going from nothing to 12 hours a week to win a race. It's sort of like 15 years of training behind that. So there's a bit more to it, but yeah, in terms of just like training 12 hours, and fit that around a full-time job, and yeah, not too bad.
Amazing.
Crazy. Was there any moment where you thought that, like, obviously you spoke to before you went and could tell your intention wasn't to come second or third,
Yeah.
just complete it. You were going for the win. Over the course of, when do you know that like the game plan's working? Because obviously day one you all start off on the same time. Getting away from the group must not be as easy as, like, you can't push too hard and kill yourself before you even get into it.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, it's a super hectic start. There's like 300 riders, and it's like, there's no drafting, but for the first, however, until it breaks up, everyone like accepts that it's going to happen. So it's literally like a peloton of 300 people on like bike backing rigs, some of which are pretty sketchy in a pack, sort of rolling down gravel roads, like neutralised by the police. So that's pretty sketchy. And then the first 130-ish K was like a big climb. So sort of when we hit the base of the climb, it started to break up, and like a couple of the guys had gone off the front. I sort of like just then hit my tempo, and by the top of that climb, there's like a little tarmac peak, a little descent, then another climb. By the top of the tarmac climb, I think like sort of that's when you sort of know what the selection is and like what people's intentions are. So yeah, I think I was sort of like in the lead pack at that point. So yeah, it's sort of from there it was good to know I was in the mixer.
One thing that surprised me massively, I don't know if it surprised you, looking from afar,
Yeah.
I thought you were racing like in a desert, but there was like a lot of snow, right?
Yeah. So the first pass, Telawet Pass, is like 2,500, just over 2,500 meters. And yeah, I went the week before with Marone Golfman, and we like recce'd to checkpoint 1, which is like the first 150k. And when we got there, we were like, yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Like when we went, it was 4 or 5 days before the start, and we just had to push the last 5k of the climb. and we had to push all the descent. So we were like, it's going to be slow. But yeah, luckily we did that in the daytime, so it was all like a bit slushy and you couldn't ride over the tops. But then when we did it in the race, it was like a 6 p.m. start, so we did that about midnight, and it had all frozen over, so you could ride like over the top of the snow drifts, which made it quicker. But yeah, it was cold.
Riding over the top of the snow drift because it was frozen. Yeah,
like yeah, some of the nights the Wahoo was showing down to -8, so it was like it's cold.
But then tell us what it got up to in the day.
Yeah, some of the days I think I saw +35.
That's much nicer.
Yeah, it's still -8.
Yeah.
You are putting your body through everything.
It was cold. I lost my sun cream on the first day as well, so I was like, oh no. So I had to ride the whole second day literally like in full kit and like buff over my face, leg warmers on. I was like, the sun was so powerful. I just didn't want to get sunburnt. I was like, it'd be so uncomfortable to be burnt to a crisp for 3 days. But I found a shop and bought some at the end of the second day. So, but that was a hot day.
Oh, if that was the only bad thing that happened. Like, wow.
That was the low point. But that was all right.
Still mental. So, just for those that might not know what it is, you literally racing from this around the Atlas Mountains continuously until you finish. You're completely self-supported.
Yeah, so start in Marrakesh and finish in Essaouira, which is like the course. Yeah, it goes through the Atlas Mountains and the Anti-Atlas, which is like a slightly smaller mountain range, and was 1300k with about 10,000 meters of climbing. So yeah, and pretty much all off-road.
Yeah.
Rough. It's pretty rough out there. It's just rocky.
What was your official time?
3 days, 20 hours on the money. Yeah.
How much sleeping?
Yeah, a lot of question on sleep. So 6 p.m. start. So I don't like that, to be honest. It's like because you've been up all day, so it's like just wasted awake hours. But yeah, 6 p.m. start. So no sleep night 1, and then I got 2 hours night 2, then 2 hours 15 night 3, and then I was planning on riding through night 4, but I was struggling, so I just like lay on the road and had my phone on my chest with like a 5-minute alarm, and yeah, got 5 minutes on the road, and then that bought me like another hour, and then did another 3-minute. So yeah, 8 minutes on the last night. So yeah, sort of.
I laid on the road with a 5-minute alarm.
Yeah, I was literally like, if I stood at my bike and had my hands on the bars, I'd just fall asleep.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in that situation. Like, Badlands is nowhere near as long as what you were doing, but being in that situation where you're riding and you're like, I'm gonna just come off my bike, and it's pretty scary. Right?
Oh, it's real sketchy. You're like riding towards like switchbacks with like 100-meter drops on the side, and you like catch yourself falling asleep. Like, this is not good.
But isn't it mad how how a 5-minute nap can actually make a huge difference?
Yeah, and it's the thing that makes the main difference for me is the sun. Like, as soon as the sun comes up, you're ready to go. Yeah. It's like, but out there, the nights were sort of 12 hours. It was like sunset at 8, and it's like a quick sunset on the equator, and then rise at 8. So it's like it's a long time in the dark, and your brain just wants to sleep. But yeah, when the sun comes up, it's good to go again. So it's like getting through that, like those early hours, is a tricky bit for me.
I remember like watching. I was quite intent on, especially when you got in the lead.
Yeah.
I want to keep watching you to make sure that you don't get like send you all my power, like he's gonna win. And a couple of times the transponder or whatever is dropped out.
Yeah.
So then your opponent, I can't think of his name.
Benedict.
Yeah, he was pretty much out of nowhere. Is ahead of you, and I'm like, oh, what's going on there? And then like your refreshes 10 minutes later, and no, you're actually still 10k ahead of them. So okay.
Yeah, the trackers, I think they could do with improving.
Yeah.
I think like I don't understand how they drop out, but then your head unit has GPS. So.
I would like explaining the concept of dot watching to someone who's not in cycling. Honestly, it's like they don't understand it until their friend or someone they know does it, and then all of a sudden they come out of it like, when are you doing your next one? I just want to watch. I want to watch a dot go across the screen for 4 days.
I don't get it personally. Even when I've had mates in races, I'm like, yeah. I'll text you and ask you how you do it. Just
well, the 3 of us were all watching it.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. I love it. And you do kind of get into it massively, and I've realised that it's a fun way just to kind of engage with that side of things, that ultra distance side of things.
Oh, definitely, and like because you can look at it and then go, do some work and then look back and it's moved.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's such an easy thing to do as well because it doesn't take up too much of your time, and then you can like click, oh, he's doing that, and he's at that speed, and he's that far ahead now. And
I was going to say, I definitely didn't sit there for 3 days, 20 hours non-stop, just watching it.
Yeah, you only had 5 minutes sleep the whole time watching it.
I got less sleep than you did.
Yeah. Well, I guess like ultra as a sport's quite hard. I think it struggles a bit because the media aspect's quite hard because like it's always in a remote place. Like the self-supported nature means you can't have a camera crew following you around particularly, and it's like so it's quite hard to get that across. And like when you're racing, so it's quite hard to do like any personal media. I sort of like struggle to get my camera out or get my phone out and document it whilst I'm in it because it just feels like wasted time and wasted energy. So it's like
definitely
it's a good way of actually like showing what's going on.
And we kind of like, I think I shared an image of you and then I got a thumbs up from you back on Instagram. And I was like, oh, hang on, he's racing and he's on Instagram. What's this all about?
Yeah, it's good to keep in touch. Yeah, it sort of takes you like if you're on a long road climb, sometimes a little browse or just take your mind off things.
At any point throughout, did you check the dot watcher?
Yeah, so I look at it quite a lot to sort of like check gaps and sort of just know what's going on.
Yeah, because I guess it's not like a TT or a road race where you can see the other people, you get a time check, I guess.
Yeah, no,
you have no clue where everyone else is unless you.
Yeah, and it's nice to know like if you're pulling away or if you're holding it or if you're being caught. It sort of it does influence my decisions a little bit. Yeah.
In terms of one of the big things is like battery management because you've got to run your lights, you've got to run your Wahoo, you've got other things that you might need to charge. How did you manage it? Because obviously you said you only stopped. You were like sleeping for 2 hours. That's not enough to charge everything. Like how did you manage it on this?
To be fair, it pretty much was. So I took like a 65 watt fast charger, which had like so I had like a port so I could charge my light, my phone, and my Wahoo. And I was lucky enough that every time I sort of got to a place where I needed to sleep, there was like a hotel in inverted commas because it's you're in the sticks, but there was a bed and a plug, so I could plug stuff in.
And that worked.
Yeah, and it pretty much. I did take 2 10,000 milliamp battery packs as well, but I think I only used one, and that was just to top up my phone every now and again.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was a bit lucky to be fair.
I'm gonna have to get that advice on that one because I messed up recently on a longer ride with battery and like rinsed everything and it was touch and go whether you were going to get to it was actually more of a race on the battery than the race itself. I was like, am I even going to make it to the end?
I've had that a couple of times, and I guess because when you got for me like the lights is a big one. That's like an essential, and the head unit is essential. So like I sort of prioritize them, and I think like if my phone dies, whatever, like people will work it out. But yeah, so having 2 lights, I kind of worked out that I could just like not really run my headlight and then use that on the last night if I was in like a bit of a pinch. Yeah. But no, yeah, it was alright with the plug. Get yourself a fast charger and you'll be good to go.
Done.
Easy. Just like
that. That's how you do it. And what about food? Tell us a little bit about like the nutrition side of things or something like that.
Yeah, food was tricky out there. There's not much on offer, and it's like off the start I'll take like as much as I can fit in the remaining free space. So I think I took like about 15 of the Fuel Plus like gummy bars, and I took 10 or 15, I can't remember exactly, of like the energy like carbohydrate sachets, and I put those just in my Camelback, and I took a thing of electrolytes as well because it's pretty hot. So I sort of survived off those for the first 12 hours, and then out there they've got like little shops and they sell a variety of dry biscuits. It's just like they don't really do anything savoury, which is sort of as you know, like you crave savoury stuff after a while of just eating sugar. So that was a bit tricky. But every time I stopped to sleep, I sort of got there's a lot of omelettes. Omelettes are pretty safe. Yeah. Because it's a bit of a risky business eating some foods out there. So the omelettes are safe and they're quick. So omelettes, and like they do these little flatbreads, so omelette and bread was good. And then I had like some mystery meats one night, which was a bit of a risk. There was like a guy just like grilling up these, I don't know, I'm guessing it was chicken. And then he like served it to me, and every stray dog within about 10 miles came and sat around me, and they were like looking at me. I was like, cool. But Yeah, so
that's when you question whether you should be eating it or not. When you've got stray dogs waiting for the...
I figured it was grilled within an inch of its life, so it's probably all right.
The
But
dog's there for the food, or because you're eating their brother or sister.
yeah. And like a lot of like yogurt drinks, they're quite good.
Yeah.
I find them quite like soothing on your stomach because I get quite a lot of like acid reflux just eating that much sugar. And, but yeah, liquid calories. I think I had more liquid calories than usual, so I felt like I was not eating enough. But my energy level was never really like bonked because I think I was just getting enough in through sugary water to keep going. Yeah.
Still mind blowing that like you even would wake up and you go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ride my bike for 4 days in a really hot and cold country, self-supported, and race it because that's fun.
And then it sounds so just like it's nothing. Like you're talking about it like it's like
It's a holiday, isn't it? I got to take annual leave for that, so I'll enjoy it. Yeah. No.
Give some context to like, because like Aiden, you race a lot, right?
Try to.
But you're racing that every weekend or most weeks, right? And you said you were training around 12, 13 hours as well, right?
Yeah, 10 to 15, sort of that was the week. But it was quite interesting from a training point of view. You're saying that you're doing intensity because most people would assume for an event like that it's just hours on the bike.
Yeah.
But are you doing a good mix of like intensity training, like VO2 threshold, tempo, or?
To be fair, yeah, a good mix. I think another person, probably why I'm here with John, is a mate of mine, Ed, recommended it, and we've been doing a bit of. He's been helping with some lactate testing. So sort of when you've got your lactate zones, I've been doing a lot of like just sub LT1 efforts, sort of like just mixing like 40 minutes LT1. And doing that a couple of times per session, and I think that's helped a lot, sort of with maximising your output, but without getting too fatigued. So that's been good. Yeah.
And like looking at the season ahead, you can't exactly be doing loads of these events in a year. You kind of have to pick and choose, depending on like times, what the body needs, because you will need like quite a lot of recovery after all of these races, right? So can you tell us a little bit like about your year ahead and?
Yeah, so I think for me, I need at least a month post race to sort of like recover and get back to almost where I was if it goes well in terms of like power numbers. So I think you can kind of nearly do one every month, but realistically, even that's a push. So my plans, full mountain race series. So that's the Atlas, which is just done, Hellenic, which is end of May, and then Silk Road, which is end of August out in Kyrgyzstan. So that's sort of, I don't like saying targets, but they're the main goals. And then probably squeeze a few like smaller races like the Tracker. I think I'm going to do further east as well, try and get the set. And maybe a couple more sort of FKT stuff in between.
Brilliant. It's a big year.
Just, riding bikes. It's fun.
Nuts, isn't it?
We'll do a couple of shorter ones, like the Tracker, 560k.
There I am, knowing we might go out for a ride after this, like going, I don't know about going out for a ride. I've not ridden much recently.
To be fair, I've had like pretty much 2 weeks off without touching the bike, so.
Yeah, but you did ride for 3 days, 20 hours straight.
I think 92-hour training block. Just waiting for the form from that. Should be good to go.
And what like learnings would you have taken from? Like, what were like the main things you kind of went, I'd do this differently, or like maybe I'd tweak this, or did you just nail it? You did win, so you did nail it. But
I guess I did win, which was the aim. And sort of like I say, when I'm looking at the Tracker, I rode it quite conservatively in a way. Like I sort of always felt like I was just fully in control of like not pushing it too hard, so that I knew that if something happened, I had a bit more in the tank to go. So I think that's, it's nice to be able to do that if you can, but obviously it's like, you got to be winning it first. So it's like that worked out, and I think I stopped quite a lot more in this one than maybe I would or have in the past, and the body was in better shape for it. So I think like if the event lends itself, like it is good to put your feet up, essentially, and have a bit of a rest and like take the time, especially because food was hard to get. Take the time when there is food available to get food in. So it's like, yeah, sometimes you got to slow down a bit to speed up, which felt like I maybe left a bit out there doing that. But I think not knowing the route, like not knowing the country, is probably the way to go. Yeah.
Nice.
So that baffles me, like going to do an event that size and not knowing the route, not knowing the country, is like just...
Yeah, that was like my big reservation going in. I thought there's quite a lot of fast boys that have done it 2 or 3 times already, and I think it's like, personally, I think there's quite a big advantage knowing what's coming, and like being able to plan fully what's happening. So like Highland Trail, when I was on that, I knew what I was doing, have time sets, like I knew when the shops were opened and closed. So I just like had to hit all those times. Whereas this one there was a bit of guesswork and a bit left up to luck. So yeah, I think. But that'll be the same for the next 2 as well. So.
But sometimes it's a blessing, you know.
Yeah.
Like when you go into something that's too planned, and like you're like, if one thing goes wrong from this like shoot, you kind of like just stress. I know that's how I work anyway.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty chilled, so
Yeah.
I'm all right when stuff.
We hadn't noticed. I don't think it's come across.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it can be. But like I said, I think it is nice to sort of know what's going on. Like it helps you. I think then it helps you plan if stuff does go wrong.
Yeah.
Like because for this, not knowing too much, I did have a bit of a plan of like where to stop. But like I said, if stuff had gone wrong or when stuff like didn't fully work out, then it's like you got to readjust and you don't know where the shops are. You don't know where to start, where you get water, because water's pretty sparse out there. It's nice.
What did you carry water supply?
So I took a 3 litre bladder in my camelback, and then I had space for like 2 sort of like soda bottles, so like either Coke or they had some like knockoff Fanta stuff out there that was pretty good. It was like coconut and tropical Fanta, which was cool. So yeah, a bit of that. But yeah, I guess the other thing that I do that most people don't really is I don't really take any caffeine either. So like, I guess I had like a couple of bottles of Coke, but there's only 20 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
Thing of Coke, so it's like not much. But I just find you putting that much stress on your body that I try and stay away from it, just because I'm like, I don't need anything extra in the mix to get the heart all.
I'm the same. I think I try to take a break from caffeine during efforts like this, because I just don't want to mess with I want my body just to like naturally understand what's going on, and rather than like forcing it to be awake. If I'm tired, you need to sleep, and it's that's a tricky one. But I that's how I do it. And
I think a lot of people are like surprised by that, but for me it's
cool. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
I guess also like when you are only sleeping for 2 hours, you don't want any. If you have caffeine, obviously it takes 8 hours to come out your system. So like if you're only having 2 hours and you don't necessarily know when that 2 hours is going to happen, you don't want any caffeine in your system, because you'll be there like, I need to sleep.
Sleeping's definitely not a problem. It's like you're out.
Yeah,
you're in and you're out straight away. But yeah, it was good to get hotels as well. I think you get better quality sleep, and they had showers a stretch, but they had running water that was cold to wash yourself. Yeah. So I was like, I think that helps with comfort and hygiene. It's nice.
Where did you go after? Like, because I was going to say, like, what was your meal? What did you eat after the race? Or did you wait until like get back to the UK and then have like a proper meal? Like, how did you?
No. So my girlfriend flew out. She missed me finish by about 45 minutes, I think. She's like,
oh no,
but I'm not too bothered.
Should slow down a bit.
She was like in Port Security watching the live stream, I think. But yeah, when I finished, chips. They had chips there, so I slammed a couple of plates of chips, and I think that night I just wanted like food I was familiar with that was like easy to eat and savoury. So I think I just had pizza. It's like hard to go wrong with a pizza, isn't it?
Great choice.
That is a great choice.
I was like sort of fed up of just eating sweets, and I was a bit fed up of rocking food at that point. So I just want something that's easy. My body knows. Pizza and chips.
Pizza and chips.
All the carbs. Get it all back in.
Yeah, I think I've lost about 3 kilos, I think. So it's quite a lot to lose over
Bloody hell.
4 days, yeah.
And did you find your appetite just it wasn't straight after? I always find it's not straight after. It's like 3 or 4 days after, it just hits you and you're like wildly hungry.
I've been wildly hungry since, and I'm like still eating everything that I see. And now I'm like, but now I need to slow down. I think I've like sort of stretched my stomach a bit, and like I'm probably back to normal. I'm like, actually, I need to rein it back in. But it's so hard. I've just got used to eating everything.
Good to
now I'm getting a bit fat.
It's good to
I need to actually ride my bike and stop eating again.
Yeah, you get to that point, don't you? Like you say, when you first take that couple of weeks off, you know that you need it, and you want to get back to that point where you go, okay, I want to ride now. Again, like, I'm ready to, and that's definitely it's worth waiting that long.
Yeah, and I think
like some people push it and then they get injured, and then actually you end up off the bike even longer, right?
Yeah, and just like your energy levels, or my energy levels, they're just like rock bottom. Even though it's been 2 weeks and like I've been sleeping pretty well. I think that's partly why I was like looking to reduce my hours at work just for the rest as well, more than like the training hours. Because in the past, when I finished a race, you know, I mean, even after this, I was back in the office on the Monday. But it's like, when you got to do a full week, it's and like I start work at 7:30, so it's quite an early start, like early wake up. So it can be a bit of that's kind of prolongs the recovery period, I think, when you've got to be on someone else's schedule.
Well, it's exciting to see what else happens this year.
It's like proper rock and roll, isn't it? Like literally just won a race and nailed it, and like by some decent time and in pretty good style, and then on Monday you're back to work with your colleagues, answering emails and designing stuff. It grounds you pretty quick. It's not the dream. It's not the dream, but it pays the bills. So can't complain. Mental. So, because we've got him here, Alex, you're a QUOC rider, and what I mean by that is you wear QUOC shoes. And just by luck, we have Brad Shenton from QUOC here with us.
Here I am.
Almost like a massive coincidence.
Yeah.
Life a massive coincidence.
We all just happen to be here at the same time on the same day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In the same country.
Yeah. So, what shoes did you wear?
I wore the Grand Tour XC lace in white, all white, baby.
All white.
It was definitely, that shoe was definitely, I think we were some of the first to bring out like a very light coloured shoe.
Shoe?
Yeah, this is the
Yes.
shoe.
Not that exact shoe, it's a bit cleaner than yours.
Yeah, but like this, it's something, well, we were talking about earlier, but like it's the one thing that we love, like, is working with athletes like Alex, and one thing that we try and do so much is to go and use them, like absolutely use them, and try and get the feedback and try and understand what works, what needs to improve for certain things. And you just happen to be doing the most extreme testing out there. But we kind of need that to be able to come back to us and go, what needs changing, what needs tweaking, and what would you like to see change?
Yeah.
And how did you find it all, like with the shoes?
So I think for this race, it's definitely like a bike race. I think some of the off-road races, there's a lot of walking. I think for the pedaling aspect, I think the fact it is like a sort of a race shoe, I kind of think it is a race at the end of the day. So it's like nice to have that like direct power transfer without feeling too flexy. So I like that. I like the aspects when there's not too much walking involved. And I guess the laces were pretty comfy, to be fair. It sort of like reduces that hot spot of like tension on your feet. So I did get on with that, even if it did mean taking my leg warmers off was a bit tricky. But it's a bit of a trade-off. But for this, it worked out.
And you were riding with the shoes for a while, right? And you kind of came to me and was like, oh, do you know anyone that could help out in terms of like fit? Because it's one thing that we do, that as a brand, we don't quite do half sizes yet. We're still growing and kind of like trying to find that exact perfect fit. But you came to John and tweaked it ever so slightly, right? To make sure that for these bigger races, it actually fit your shoe as best it could, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Did a couple of things which we won't say, so that no one else can copy you and win the Atlas Mountain race next year.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's the full reason, but it did help.
No, I'm chatting.
But like, it is such a hard thing for us. Like, everyone's feet is so different. Yeah. And it's something that's hard to like really comprehend until you say like, look, go and see a bike fitter. Go and like get someone to look at it properly if you want to find super comfort within your shoes. We make a shoe, and we make the sizing that we do, and how we make the shoe is the more of the masses. Like, one of our big ethos as a brand is like, we want to help more people get on bikes. Like, we want to see more people riding bikes, whether you're racing, whether you're just going out to your shop, or just you want an adventure. But it does mean that you have to build a shoe that fits most people, and then you kind of build from there. That's what we're all about anyway.
Definitely. And I think feet is such an important, like the most important part of a bike fit. If you get that wrong, it can really be detrimental to how you feel on the bike and how how that experience is, and power transfer and stability, and then what your body's actually doing and how gravity affects you. So if you get it wrong, it can make cycling not fun. And we didn't really need to do very much with Alex at all, really, and it's definitely nothing to do with that he was able to do what he did, but hopefully it made you a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, it was definitely the best I felt post-race.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, usually I'm pretty wrecked.
Yeah.
But I was good company on holiday afterwards this time. So. Yeah, I'm sure my girlfriend will be happy anyway.
Yeah, it's worth it then. Keep your girlfriend happy. Yeah, so you're right there, Brad. Everyone's foot's different. So like, you can buy a pair of shoes off the internet, and that's great. But you try them on, but actually being able to like try different sizes on, different makes, and then have how people's feet react and what you want people's feet to do when they're in a shoe, on a bike, and how that directs the body into what position it's in and how it's sensing gravity. To get it really nailed, you really need someone else to work with, just so you can test some stuff out and let that person go away and try that, and then provide you with some feedback so you can make alterations to it. And it's not easy to do on your own at all, and you can spend a lot of time testing. Whereas I would always recommend going to a bike fitter, because that's what we do all day, every day.
Yeah.
So we're quite likely to be able to give you first go a very, very good idea as to what we need to do for your feet to understand what's going on in your central nervous system. So your central nervous system understands where they are to make cycling better, and we can just do it a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And then continue that conversation as various other things happen based on how you're feeling afterwards and whatnot. Because I don't work with other people that ride for 3 days and 20 hours. So I'm just like trying to preempt what's going to happen to you over that course of the ride. I just don't know.
No.
As much as we can analyse you in here.
Like, it's definitely hard to tell.
Yeah.
It depends on a lot of factors, I guess.
Yeah.
There's like a lot that can happen out there. So
and most riders are doing like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, and you can kind of see in their form what's going to happen. But so many different factors for what you're doing, in how you might, like if you didn't drink enough and you're not hydrated enough, or if you don't eat enough food and you become tired, you'll fatigue, and then what could be perceived as a bike fit issue is actually a nutrition issue, and there's just so many potentials.
yeah, for sure.
So we kind of made a best guess, and
seemed to work.
Yeah,
That's all right.
hopefully.
But it is quite important to like get that feedback after these races and these events and like this testing, because there's nothing better than getting like in-field testing. I think one of the things that we've always curated with our riders is like, it's normally through friends of friends and people that we can trust and know. And I believe like our link up was through Albion. I can't even remember. Maybe you did a shoot with them or something, and I think we got a recommendation of like, get Alex in some shoes, like good guy to work with. And that's how we like to work, because it means that we can call on those people to be like, right, give us feedback. We know that, I know if I message him, he'll come back with like info and be like, yeah, this is like super useful. And it's that kind of two-way relationship, whereas for like a growing brand like us, like we definitely need that. And everyone that wears our shoes is like an extension of the brand, and we want to always make sure that they've like, when someone's getting the shoe, they feel part of the brand. I know it's kind of, as brands grow, things always feel a little bit more distant and no one ever knows who's behind it, but it's something that we, through our shops and through our partners and through our riders, want to make sure that everyone's like, they kind of understand the brand a little bit better. Yeah. And hopefully that will see more people ride, and hopefully see more people riding our shoes.
Definitely. Well, we're all QUOC riders in here, including you, Mr. Aidan King.
Indeed.
Who, I think, so I was working with Aidan for a while, and clearly works for me because he's on the podcast every time we do one. But also Aidan's a coach, so if you come in and look for coaching, Aidan is the coach I recommend, so he's based out of here. And when I first met Aidan, Aidan was not wearing QUOCs, and we've recently put him in a pair.
Yep.
And
very noticeable differences.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the power transfer especially. Going from some very flexible, we won't name the brand, shoes, to some stiff-soled QUOCs is like not just power transfer, but like pedal smoothness, everything is just improved. And I think it might have helped my hip issue that I had.
Yes,
as well.
Definitely. Not overextending. But yeah, it's just, and it's such a great brand, because it's not only a well thought through shoe, stiff carbon sole, nice wide last, fits lots of people, but it's they're aesthetically pleasing too.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to do, to try and balance that. It looks beautiful and it's like form and function.
Yeah, well, I think for anyone that doesn't know, like QUOC, he's a person. He's the QUOC fan, and he's the founder, and he was a fashion designer. He had his own menswear label, and it is about fashion for him, and like the aesthetics is very, very important to us, and it's that. I think as the brand has grown, he was, to give some context about where the brand started, it was like 15 years ago, and he was riding around London on a red fixie with like the steel toe caps, like
toe clips.
Yeah, toe clips. And he was just wearing his normal shoes, going to meetings, ruining his normal shoes. So he was like, why am I doing this? I need a shoe that can fit, it's thinner, that can fit in here, but looks good. He wanted to make it in Britain. And that kind of like how it evolved. I think that first year that he got on order, it was like 120 pairs for a whole year, for the whole of the UK. You know, went to Condor and was like, oh, please, like, I've got a shoe that I think would work here. And it kind of evolves and then produced the Grand Tourer, which in theory, like, it very much was the first original gravel shoe. Yeah. He went on a bikepacking trip and was like, this is what cycling should be, the adventure. And I'll never forget, I can't remember where he was, but he was in the lakes and he like definitely wasn't prepared for what he was about to embark on. And I've seen some of the pictures, he just looks cold, but like had a proper adventure. And it was like a press event for these new shoes that will come in the Grand Tourer. And that was really like the stamp. And the GT, the Grand Tourer, will always kind of stick around because it is like the OG shoe for the brand. And that's when things started to really take off, and it kind of changed from, the brand was originally QUOC Fan, designer led, that's kind of how all the big design labels do it now, after the founder, and kind of moved on from that to just QUOC, and it just it's evolved very naturally. The team kind of have a lot of input, like the whole team, and it's really cool to see because a lot of us are riders in very different aspects, living in different places, riding properly, and we are riding with our riders, riding with our shops, and understanding like what needs to change. And like QUOC and the team, they listen to that, and it's really cool to be a part of that side of things. I think one of the fun things that it's QUOC normally has a goal and he wants to get it. And I remember like 2 years ago, he was like, we were in America and we hadn't brought out the M3 range yet. We still only had the Mono 2. And he was like, I want to see our shoes raced in the World Tour. And I, at the time, I was like, we don't even have the shoe. We've got like a leather brogue looking road shoe that has a carbon sole, but it's no way going to be ready for the World Tour. And he was like, no, next year we're going to have it. And you know, next year we signed G, and we've got G in our shoes. Yeah. And out of nowhere, it was just like, yeah, if you try and believe something, you make it work. And that obviously has been phenomenal, learning from him and him having direct like contact with us and giving us great feedback, and it's cool to have that because you take those, obviously a shoe that G needs is different from what a lot of riders need, but you take the learnings from it and you kind of build that shoe around. You have the different levels of what different people at certain levels want, and it's been interesting. It's been a learning minute, but we're trying to make shoes for everyone that one wants to have a shoe that looks good, but performs well, and to be honest, is priced well as well. Yeah. You know, we want it to be accessible, and it's so important for us to have like spaces like this for people to come and try them on. Buying habits are different. Everyone like the world of online, you know, but shoes are important, and we need people to go to shops and try them on and support that local like economy. And but ultimately, if you want to try and find the best shoe to fit you, go to a shop and try it on.
Definitely. And it's no different than the whole bike fit thing. Is you get to try it and see how it feels and fits, and someone can give you an appraisal as to whether or not you need that size or the other size, or you need to do something inside the shoe to make it fit better. So you're just going to have a better experience, and it means that when someone comes in, I can talk to them about the brand and QUOC, and they can have a look at all the different ranges of shoes and all the different price points. So you're not just trying to buy the most expensive and hope that it fits. Your whole experience of buying the shoe is much nicer.
Going back to the aesthetics as well, like normally like shoes will look good in a size 42 or 43, similar with like 54 bikes and 56, but when you get to me and it's a 47, normally they just look like massive flippers and they look nothing like this. But like my M3 Air Pros look the same as the smaller one. Like they look good across the range, not just the normal foot size.
He knows what he's doing when he comes to designing, that's for sure. And it's good. Like, and we don't shy away from it. You know, we want to be. We kind of get a lot of feedback. It's like if you're looking for an alternative to something that looks good. Like before, I remember when I first started, I was literally like, I don't care what shoe it is. I just want to ride my bike. The shoe is like literally just a thing to allow me to ride my bike. Whereas now, in the world of where people are looking at different aspects a little bit more, it's like, yes, if you do want something, if you want an extension of your bike or something, that's where we kind of slot in quite nicely.
Well, it's where it starts as well. So literally, if you don't have that foot pedal interface right, so if the shoes don't fit, you're going to have problems. If your shoes aren't the right size, you're going to have problems. If they're not set up properly, if the cleats aren't in the right place, everything comes from there. So the whole potential for you to have a lovely experience riding your bike diminishes. And the problem is, if you just do it yourself, obviously, is you just don't know that you're not having a nice experience. So a lot of people ride and be like, I ride my bike and it hurts, but that's cycling. Like, well, it is, but you can also like quite enjoy it, and then you move them around on the bike. And like, oh, is this what it's meant to feel like then?
Yeah.
It's to go in somewhere is just a much better place to.
No, exactly, and it's also learning how to work with people as well. Kind of like changing how business works and making sure that we understand how people buy shoes, how shops buy shoes, and just trying to extend that. And it's been an interesting one, trying to get in the field as much as possible. I mean, you'll see it like normally when there's an event and there's quite a few QUOC riders, they too tend to kind of like, everyone kind of gets together in a nice way. And I would like to think that a lot of our riders are very welcoming, as like we just try to extend that to our shops, the brand and the people that work at the company. It's all quite trying to be as accessible as possible and just make it fun.
I remember when I first got in touch with you about stocking them, and you really just wanted to talk to me to understand that, like, you weren't too interested in what I was doing. You're more interested in me, like to check that you were happy that I was going to be the right person to sell the brand.
Yeah.
Which is really important for me too, that you were trying to make sure you're picking the right people to work with. And I think by that, when you buy the shoe, you're getting that extension of what you're after.
Yeah, and I think this goes from definitely when we were starting, but I realised like massively, you're effectively, like I said earlier, you're an extension of the brand, and it very much is that like that person that's coming in to buy our product, it's not necessarily me talking to them, it's going to be you. Yeah. So like I need to make sure that when we have the conversation, that's why it's like pick up the phone anytime or chat any questions, and it's like it's great just to be able to kind of extend any info or try and like explain this is how we tell the story, this is how we do things. And I think people like it, you know, there is a story and people do want to hear it, and we're just trying to kind of continue in that really.
And from my perspective, it's really great because you are people on the end of the phone, and I've met you a few times, spoken to you loads, and some of the other team, and if there is a problem or we've had an issue with a shoe or some of the customers had a problem or issue with delivery.
Deliveries.
Because there's a relationship. It's not like it's a faceless B2B, although
we do have our B2B. But
if there's problems, you can pick the phone up to someone that knows you, and it's a much easier conversation to have, like, what's going on, or can you help out because this has gone wrong. And as a business and as an individual, it's just a much nicer way to work. So it's a great way for. Please stay like that.
We will. We'll try. One of the things, massively, is like making sure that. Well, the thing is as well, like I never want to force anyone to either one, wear our shoes or two, sell our shoes. And because ultimately we've had it a couple of times where people have been so desperate to be part of the brand and they'll ask for a pair of shoes and you get them that pair of shoes, and after a while you're not really hearing from them, and it's because the shoe doesn't fit, but they still want to be part of the brand. And it's like, but the shoe needs to fit because you need to be comfortable in that. And it's the same with like passing that. So I want you to be able to sell the shoe to that person because you want to, and it just makes life a lot easier. I want you to ride the shoe because you're like, this is really comfy and I really enjoy wearing this, and I'm going to tell everyone about it.
And there are those other occasions where someone's foot just doesn't work. And so we don't sell them the shoe. But then they have a much better experience because of it. And it's a shame because they want to wear it, but you're not just trying to ram their foot into this thing that doesn't fit them.
No, exactly.
And that's really important as well.
Yeah, and no, it's been great. I think kind of this new evolution of QUOC has been kind of growing for the last 5 years, and it's really cool to see kind of everything that's going on and pushing on, and it just every year evolves, and every year the fortunate thing is that we can move at quite a quick pace. I mean, people don't realise, but shoes take forever to make. It's not like we can just like make a shoe in 6 months, but and release it. But they do take a little bit of time. But every time we kind of put the line together, it might be that something pops up and people are like, oh, I'd love this and I'd love this. And then you start to just like picture, oh, okay, this is how we bring things in. I think also having like a quite nice conservative, like not making the range massive. You know, you want it to be like targeted for the right reasons. We're not just bringing out shoes for the sake of bringing out shoes. It's very much like, okay, how do we grow either that range, or is it that range needs to split, or do we kind of the way that we are slowly going is that each year tends to be a little bit of a different focus. It might be that actually the road side needs a bit more of attention. So in this year, it's going to be a few more road shoes rather than, or evolution of a road shoe, and then bring in the off-road the next year. And it just evolves like that. And yeah, it's exciting to hear everything and from everyone and the different riders that get in touch. But also, what's quite cool is like, and this is where I get really excited. Like it's amazing to see all the World Tour riders come in and be like, oh, I'd love to wear the shoes. And I love that. But it's when people come from other aspects of like things and hobbies. We've had like quite a few skaters now get in touch, being like, oh, I'm a professional skater and I want to like ride more when I'm not skating. I'd love to like wear your shoes, and it'll be someone who has like this really interesting world that they do, and they're like, and I want the bike to be an extension of me, and you fit that, and that's what really excites me, because we do see like, one, the bike as a tool just to get from A to B or to facilitate certain things, but also we like to think of it as like our lifestyle and like who we are, and kind of want that same feeling with our brand and how we do things, that it's just kind of a way of life, and we slot into it quite nicely, you know. So that's the long way of kind of explaining the brand a little bit.
No, it's good. It's good for people to hear it, because obviously you go on a website and look at shoes. Generally, you don't always look at the background of the brand and where it's come from and where it started, and then how big it is and what you're planning to do, because we don't all read every bit of the website, even though all of us with the website spend so much time putting it together, and then people come in and ask you the question like, oh, I wrote all.
Yeah.
Speaking of evolution, and Brad, you're not just here with a shoe I've given you off my shelf.
Yeah.
You have some evolution of shoes.
We do have some new shoes. There's one missing, which is the Sport, but I can grab that pretty quickly. Actually, Alex might be able to. Okay. But we do have some new stuff coming. I don't know. I mean, I was holding. This is the current GTXC. This is the lace version, and then I guess we're kind of extending that through. So this is what has worked really well for us.
Yep.
We kind of brought this lighter colour out, and the lighter colour for us was just like, okay.
Everyone likes white shoes.
People do like white shoes.
Yeah.
There is a shift change, massively. The one exception is in markets like Japan. Japan, they wear black shoes, and it's something that we're like, okay, cool. We, from our own sales and the shops that we work with, they say light colour sales. So it's finding that balance, but for us, light colour sales. So we've definitely leaned into that a little bit more. And I would say that we're starting to find that very much style, and want people to, if they're wearing the shoe, you kind of instantly know, oh, that's a QUOC shoe, because of how it looks. And we this is going to be a new colourway. Well, this is the new colourway of the GTXC.
Yep.
So it's like the XC that the lace version that we already have, but we've inverted it with the white dials. So it looks even more white than the lace version. It's the same shoe, but it's a new colourway.
Yeah.
This model is working really well for us. People seem to love it. It fits a lot of people. It's just giving people more of what they want. So very excited to have this in the range. I think this is going to be a fan favourite, a rider favourite.
You showed Alex earlier and his eyes lit up.
Yeah, I know.
That makes me want to get a comfortable bike.
It's this is the one that you're after, right?
Yeah.
This is the one that you'll be wearing all year, no doubt. So, I mean, like, look, everyone says that, oh, white off-road, it can't work. They clean up well. Look after them and they'll clean.
Yeah, it depends where you wear them.
Yeah.
If you're just cruising around Girona, it's pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
It's basically road jam.
So everyone should just come out to Girona and come ride, you know. But one thing, talking of dark colours, we will have the moss colour,
Okay, which is lovely.
which is also really nice. But like we say, one thing that we found is when we went all black, we kind of took the identity away a little bit.
Yeah.
So it might be that people just want a darker shoe. They don't necessarily want a black shoe. It's just that they want something darker. And we were like, well, we don't mind a dark colour shoe. It still needs to be distinctively QUOC.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we brought this out, and this will kind of be the new darker colour. So yeah, excited for this little splash of colour. Colour's hard, you know. We have tried in the past, and it will always live with us. Is adding that colour and trying to go a bit bold with stuff. But you get to a point where people will either go, right, I'm definitely matching my shoes and my helmet. So you'll see a lot of people with like the same colour shoes as their helmet. A lot of people do white or like black. Or when we have had the amber colour, it has been quite noticeable that if people have the amber shoe, they have an amber helmet in some capacity. So yeah, these are kind of the colourways that will be out this year, and hopefully a lot of people will be rocking.
Yeah.
Sticking to the off-road, we have the new colourway of the GT2, which is a stone colour. Again, taking the learnings from the sand. The GT2 sand was our best seller for a long, long time, and just updating it really. Don't need to reinvent the wheel because people love this shoe. You wore it a lot.
Yeah,
right?
I wore it for the Highland Trail.
Yeah, and
that was the sand one.
yeah, and that's the exact kind of use for it. Is that big adventure?
Yeah.
Okay, the Highland Trail is like the gnarliest of adventures, but that's what it's made for. It's
it did the job.
Yeah,
Did the job.
So, and I guess the difference very much being that there's you're looking at 1 dial over 2 dials, the adjustment of fit, the sole is different, so this is a lot more supple. If you're going to be doing more multi-day adventures, bike packing, this is a great shoe for that.
Walking.
Yeah, good to walk in. So they're a little bit stiffer. They kind of have more of the adjustment with the 2 dials and kind of geared towards that more racer or someone, like for example, a lot of the time when I ride, I just ride in these, regardless of whether I'm riding road or off-road. I just like a comfortable shoe that I can ride everywhere, and it gives you good power transfer, but at the same time it's super comfortable for everyday riding. Durable, good in all weathers really. So yeah, kind of between the two, we have a nice mix.
Yeah, and different price points as well.
And the different price points.
Which is really important.
Yeah.
Because some people don't have the money that can afford the £320 shoe. They've only got like £150 is a lot of money, but you can still get a lot of shoe for your money.
Yeah,
It's going to sort you out.
And then on the road side is where we're kind of definitely the evolution is coming. I think we already have the M3 Air out, which, yes, working with G on that has definitely grown the profile across the road range, and it was something that we needed to do. But we kind of flipped it on its head a little bit. We have a huge Asian market, and it's in the summers it just gets the humidity and the heat. It's just such a big thing that they were crying out for a shoe. We only had the Mono 2 at the time, and it was just getting too hot for people's feet. So we brought out the Air version first. But then obviously in the UK, everyone's like, the Air version's great, but I'm only wearing it for like June and July.
My overshoes are my best friend.
Yeah, exactly. So we knew that this shoe was always going to come. The upper is a slightly different material, just to be more durable, slightly thicker, and it just has that all-white crisp look. You know, it will be a lot of people that want to have the Air version for the summer training camps or going out to that hotter heat. But I'd say for the UK region, this is going to be like an absolute win at that price point, and it's going to be a fan favourite for sure.
It's really smart. It's a really nice shoe.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
But the thing is as well, like we've gone all white with it, but you can still tell from pretty far away that that's instant. You go, that's a QUOC shoe, you know. Sorry, Aidan, it's not 47.
It's not 47.
Can we watch you try and put your foot in it? Just to give an example.
They're all my size.
Yeah. And then what you're holding is the M3 Sport, which is the replacement for the Mono 2, and that's an evolution up. Yeah. But interestingly, we've been able to bring the price point down.
Yeah, that's really good too.
Which we're a business at the end of the day, but also we want people in our shoes, and if we can make a saving and pass that on, like we want to help more people get into shoes, get into our shoes. So yeah, this is the M3 Sport. In terms of fit, it'll feel a little bit more spacious than the M3 Pro. The M3 Pro is very much targeted at that kind of someone who either just wants an all-white shoe or is like trying to perform at a certain level. And this just kind of has a bit more space in there, but still great performance, full carbon sole. So yeah, it's
black lining as well. So kind of a bit more sensible than
exactly
all white.
But we try and bring in an element of like our own uniqueness to a white shoe, and adding something that again is instantly recognisable as a QUOC shoe. So we're really excited to have this in the range. It kind of levels out the 3 ranges as well. We'll still have the Escape range at that £150 price mark. So it just clearly defines the different levels of like where our shoes sit, but still 3 shoes in the range on the road. So no, it's
exciting times, Brad.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've got a good range now. We've had to pivot ever so slightly. Like we used to have a bit more of a lifestyle range, like the Weekend and the Chelsea boot. I mean, the Chelsea boot blew up on the internet, amazing, but it's hard. Like trying to get your everyday cyclist to believe that a Chelsea boot should have a cleat on the bottom of it is quite hard. But it was brilliant for the brand, and they'll never go away fully. It's something that we now need to focus on, kind of growing and giving more people what they want. And then when we get to a certain point where we can reduce our minimum orders on shoes, we might be able to do smaller runs of these like more eccentric shoes in the cycling market. It's definitely something like looking down at the pipeline. Yeah, things like that will come back for sure. I'm excited about it, and we'll never lose who we are. It's just trying to do it in the right way.
I think it's really exciting. I really love the brand. I really love, on a personal, professional, working with the brand.
Yeah.
And also spending time with you. Always good fun.
No, I like coming down, and it's good to be able to do this kind of thing. You know, we're always open to trying to do things and work with our partners and riders, and it's good to be able to hear your story in person.
It's always good to meet up.
Yeah, nice. It's good. We want to get out there. You know, we want to be more than just a shoe that sits on a shelf. Shoe that sits.
That's easy for you to say.
That one can cut.
And then a bit later on this year, we really want to get you guys to come down and do a QUOC ride from here in Topsham.
Yeah.
So that we can all be wearing our QUOC shoes together.
Yeah, we'll definitely make that happen. A ride out of here. We'll wait for the better weather, a bit warmer weather.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then so we'll be arranging that. So we'll let everyone know when that is.
Yeah.
We're going to stick some bits and pieces in the description on you, Alex.
Yeah. Cool.
So where to find your Instagram.
Nice. Thank
so
you.
People can keep up to date what you're up to, and the random pictures of coffee you stick on your story.
Working on that as official sponsor.
Yeah.
Watch this space. If you want coffee, it'll be Ala.
Yeah.
Best coffee in the game.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Nice.
Catch up about that.
Dream sponsor.
Catch up off the podcast. But Brad, we're going to close up at QUOC as well.
Perfect.
And probably tag your Instagram in as well.
Brilliant.
So people can find out what Brad's up to, where he's in the world, because he likes to keep us up to date.
Yeah.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
What else
The
we can
usual.
do? And then we'll be back talking about other stuff in another episode at some other point. And this video will come out when the shoe's released, so that it all ties in nicely.
Yeah. No, that's perfect.
Thank you both so much for coming in. It's been great to listen to your stories, both of you.
Yeah.
And
all good.
Look forward to us all going out for a ride in a minute.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Bye.